Section 6.5 is looking at graphing or solving systems of inequalities, and we're going to do them all by graphing. So we have two inequalities here, and we're just going to graph both of them and then look at where they overlap to get our solution. Okay. If you have colored pencils or something and want to do this in different colors, it might be a good idea so you can see a little bit better, but you don't have to. So I'm just going to graph this inequality. X is greater than -1. So x and -1 would be a vertical line at -1. And I'm going to make it a dotted line because x is greater than, not greater than or equal to. So it's a dotted vertical line at -1. And the solution for x is greater than -1, here are all the numbers that are greater than -1. Okay, now I can't control anything like that on the computer here, but when you're shading them on your paper, I would do it really lightly at first. So I would shade to the right of -1 really lightly because we're going to have two different inequalities, two different shading, and what we're looking for as the solution is the place where the shading overlap. So even if you have different colors, I would still shade really lightly to begin. Alright, then we're going to do the second one, y is less than or equal to -3. Alright, this is going to be a horizontal line, so I'm going to go to -3, and I'm going to make a horizontal line. This time it's going to be a solid line, because it is less than or equal to, so the line is part of the solution. And then I'm going to shade less than, so below -3. Again, if I were you, I would do this very lightly. Okay, because then the solution is anywhere where they overlap. So in my case, because I use two different colors, anywhere the blue and the red are both shaded in, that is part of my solution. Alright, so if you're doing this with just a pencil, I would shade this really light, shade this really light, and then when they overlap, you can shade it in much darker so we can see this is the solution. Alright, this is the part of the graph that makes both inequalities true. Okay, so it's just like we did with equations. We're looking for the part where both of them are true because it's a system. Alright. So here's another example that we will go through. Again, same thing. I'm going to graph both of these inequalities and then find where the shading overlaps. So I'll do the first one in blue again. Y is greater than x plus 1. So plus 1 is my y-intercept, and then the slope is 1. So 1, 1, up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Alright, again, this is going to be a dotted line, okay, because it's just y is greater than. And then I need to shade above the line for greater than. Alright, just like we did with the inequalities in chapter 5. Alright, you can always check by plugging in 0, 0. So in this case, 0, 0 is not shaded in, so I would expect a false statement. So if I plug that into that first inequality, 0 is greater than 0 plus 1, 0 is not greater than 1, that's false, so I shaded the right way. Okay, then let's go to the second one. Now we have y is greater than or equal to -x plus 1. So plus 1 again is my y-intercept, and then the slope is -1. So I'm going to go down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. Okay, and this time, again, it's going to be a solid line. That's a terrible line. You should have a straight edge and can draw that much better. Alright, solid line because greater than or equal to. Alright, and again I'm going to shade above the line. Alright, again check your shading. So 0, 0 would not be in that red shaded in area. So if I put 0, 0 in here, I should expect a false statement. 0 is greater than or equal to -0 plus 1. Alright. Well, -0 is just 0, 0 plus 1 is 1, 0 is not greater than or equal to 1, so that's a false statement. 0, 0 should not be shaded in, so I went the right way. Okay, and then again, you should be doing this really light so that anywhere where they overlap, that is going to be our solution. And I'm going to do it in a different color. You, on a test or quiz, should make it really dark so I can see where they overlap. That's the place that is the solution. Okay. Alright, here's one more example. What I want you to do is try this one on your own. So you're going to pause here and then come back and check your answer. Alright, they are not solved for y, which they have to be for you to graph, so you need to solve for y first before you can graph both of these. So pause now and then come back and check. Okay, so hopefully your graph looks something like that. When you solved the equations for y, you should have gotten these two equations, and if you look, they have the same slope and a different y-intercept, so they're parallel lines, and because their shading goes in opposite directions, there's nowhere on that graph where the red and blue are ever going to overlap, so we say that has no solution. Okay, so I did a couple examples off of this page right here. I just kind of picked some random ones. What I want you to do is finish the rest of them. So only up to number 9 right there. You do not have to do this page that says practice problems. We'll look at those in class. But I want you to finish up to number 9 and we'll go over them very first thing. If you have any questions, make sure you write them down and or type them into the Google form.